Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. You gotta love President Trump. You know, they keep telling us how much of an idiot he is. They say, oh, Donald Trump, he's a moron. He only appeals to stupid people. And you know what? I think if you're a pompous elitist who equates academic speech with intelligence, then you might be more prone to believe that. Intelligent people all sound super smart and eloquent and use big words. You might have that very narrow-minded view where all smart people essentially sound like ChatGPT, but the reality is very different. There's all kinds of different types of intelligence. And the idea that Trump is dumb because he has a more, let's call it simplistic, layman way of speaking, well, it's just flat out wrong. Trump is smart. I'd argue Trump is highly intelligent, and he keeps proving it not by saying big words, but by always being 5 steps ahead of the machine. Well, what's the machine? Well, of course, the machine refers to the media industrial complex, the information power sphere. In this case, we have David versus Goliath, man versus machine, Trump versus the entire media apparatus. But somehow, dummy Trump, who's unintelligent and appeals to flyover state hillbillies, somehow that guy keeps outsmarting all of these 500 IQ Jake Tappers and Jim Acostas and deep state actors. Well, that's because Trump's smarter than all of you, and once again, Trump delivers in the most intelligent way possible. He's now using a very clever tactic to work around Judge Juan Merchant's gag order, his unconstitutional, horrifying, precedent-setting gag order. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on. Then, of course, I'll give you guys a little bit of an update in the ongoing lawfare campaign. We've got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, friends, take a look at this tweet right over here from Charlie Kirk. He writes, Trump expertly avoids violating Judge Merchant's unconstitutional gag order by using the left's own words against them. He pulls out a piece of paper and reads quotes from CNN and other news outlets on what they are saying about the case. Brilliant. Take a look at this.
Some of the statements made about this witch hunt on CNN, fake news CNN, Michael Moore said the proof of falsifying records has not been accomplished. On Good Morning America, they said, we heard that expense payments to lawyers are legal expenses. You pay a lawyer expense payments. We didn't put it down as construction costs, the purchase of sheetrock, the electrical cost. The legal expense that we paid was put down as legal expense. There's nothing else you could say. You don't have to put down anything, I guess. But we put down legal expense was legal expense. Is that a correct statement, Mr. Attorney? And everyone's saying, oh, gee, that's the fraud. That's what they're trying to get us on. The fact that we call a legal expense a legal expense. They marked it down in the books. The check was signed. And the other thing, this was approved by all agencies. Everybody saw this. There was nothing being hidden at all. That's what they're all writing now. There's been nothing hidden. And it went through agencies, and I guess it went through the IRS also. It went through IRS, it went through the FEC, it went through everything. Also, NBC Today showed the challenges that there is no smoking gun, no email or tape to prove the president's intent. They don't have a way to prove that. That's NBC Today show. And then Fox News, Katie Cherkasky, said that the gag order is unconstitutional. Which, of course, it is. The gag order is unconstitutional. So with all that's going on, they have no case.
He's playing the game at an expert level. This is what Trump does. And they tell you Trump's a dumb guy. A dummy. Doesn't get indicted on 91 phony counts and come out on top in every single case. Trump obviously knows exactly what he's doing. You know, the left keeps telling us, oh, Trump's gonna get himself in trouble. He's gonna get himself arrested for violating these gag orders. Look at all the dumb things he's saying. He just got fined $1,000. You think Trump's worried about getting fined $1,000 from little Judge Merchant? He doesn't care. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's actually taunting the judge, saying, please arrest me. Because of course he knows if Mr. Juan Merchant, who is viewed as a totally partisan Democrat hack, actually goes forward with enforcing one of these gag orders, well then that'll pretty much seal the deal. Trump is saying, do it. He's claimed on multiple occasions that he'd be totally willing to go to prison while standing up for his constitutional rights.
Because this judge has given me a gag order and said you'll go to jail if you violate it. And frankly, you know what? Our Constitution is much more important than jail. It's not even close. I'll do that sacrifice any day.
You know, people wonder why we like this guy. It's very simple. He's a badass. He's the real deal. You know, he may be a little bit rough around the edges. He may be a little bit quirky, but if anything, that makes him more likable. He's more of a unique, charismatic individual who also happens to just always get it done. He always manages to somehow survive unscathed, or in most of the cases, come out more powerful in the end than when he started. He's playing them all for fools. I mean, just look at his approval rating over the years. Donald Trump's the only president in modern American history whose approval rating goes up the more exposure we have to him. Usually it's the opposite. Usually it's a big honeymoon period. Oh, this new charismatic leader. Wow, how amazing he is and the messages that he's delivered. He's gonna bring us hope like Obama promised. A new prosperous vision for the nation. Then of course reality checks in and it's yet again another corrupt, self-serving politician, and then boom, their political stock or their approval rating tanks to the bottom. Trump is the exact opposite. Trump continues to rise. In some polls, I've seen Trump's approval rating above 50%, or at least close to that 50% marker. That is incredible considering the amount of attacks that he has to deal with, the constant multi-pronged onslaught that Trump is being hit with. He manages it all and ends up on top. It's amazing. And here he is again, one-up CNN and one-up the Democrat lawfare justice system. He just keeps delivering the goods. And you know, the initial perception based on what the media was reporting was that this gag order was needed, was important to protect the legal system from mob boss Donald Trump. We remember when actors in the media were comparing him to John Gotti. And of course, this clip that I always play in these videos where Nicole Wallace kept saying that Trump was threatening the judge's daughter and threatening jury members.
So, you know, it's time to do something different. Like, we're not going to have this conversation again. I have come on the air with breaking news about requests for gag orders because of threats for judges and their kids more times than I could count today before I got ready.
She threw a tantrum on air because Trump's a mob boss, causing so much damage and threatening people's safety. Give me a frickin' break. You know, initially that's what people thought, but now I think the perception is changing quite dramatically. People realize that Juan Merchan is acting horribly and that his gag order is unconstitutional. They imposed a gag order on the former president who's running in the current election. I can't think of anything more unconstitutional. He can't even defend himself. He's a criminal defendant who cannot call out bias and clear conflicts of interest. The judge's daughter is literally fundraising off of this case for the Democrats. Almost all the prosecutors and DAs in all of these cases are either Democrat politicians who got elected as Democrats running as Democrats, or are lifelong Democrats who donate to the party and have connections to the Biden administration. But this judge is telling you that Trump can't even say that, he can't mention that, he can't complain about it, he can't defend himself against it, and if he does, he faces jail time. They're tyrants, and that has to be the view, that has to be the popular view at this point. And now, of course, thanks to Donald Trump's very clever trick here, he can now expose more of the public to the clear facts of this case by expertly and I'd say legally subverting the judge's gag order by using CNN's own words rather than voicing his opinion. It's not me who's saying it, it's CNN who's saying it. It's not looking good for the Democrats in their lawfare campaign. And it's not just the fact that Donald Trump is subverting their gag order, it's also that the case itself is completely imploding. Michael Avenatti, who's actually a key figure in this whole thing, Stormy Daniels' ex-lawyer, is dropping some bombshells from prison.
Michael Avenatti dropped a bombshell from behind bars today, and take it for what it's worth. I'm just conveying what he said. He made an allegation that a producer wanted to do a documentary on Stormy Daniels and called him on a recorded line and said, "Would you like to participate?" And he said, "Well, I don't know. Is she getting paid for the documentary? Because if she is, it's probably not fair and I'm not going to do it." And the producer says, "Yeah, she is going to get paid for the documentary, but that's because she owes Trump hundreds of thousands of dollars in judgment, and she's just trying to make ends meet. But she has a way of concealing the money from Trump's lawyers. What they're going to do is, and what they have done, Michael says, is that they have optioned the rights to her book. They've taken the proceeds and set up a fraudulent LLC under Stormy's daughter's name, and that's how they're going to hide the money from Trump's lawyers.
And not only that, but we're getting reports that Stormy Daniels' testimony in court in the Trump trial, well, isn't exactly going so well. Big update after Stormy Daniels testifies in Trump trial. Just take a look at CNN's coverage.
Beyond the norm, she says, while looking at the jury. Jake, let's go back to you.
Thanks, Anderson. So, yeah, we have Stormy Daniels on the stand right now in Donald Trump's hush money cover-up case. And she's talking about how she got into the world of adult films and also, as you mentioned, Anderson, talking about some of the more mainstream entertainment projects she's been in. The jury, we're told, is not reacting to her laughs and at times her blunt testimony. What is the purpose, Bill Brennan, of the prosecutors eliciting from her the information not only about how she got into the world of adult films, pornographic films, but also that she'd been in a Maroon 5 video, that she'd been in a Rob Zombie video, that she'd been in at least 2 works by auteur Judd Apatow, the Knocked Up and the 40-Year-Old Virgin. Asked if she discussed Trump in connection with politics on her podcast, she says yes, of course. She no longer hosts the podcast because she was fired. What is the purpose of all this? Because the prosecution is doing this.
Jake, I think the prosecutor, Ms. Hoffinger, is trying to humanize Stormy Daniels before this jury, but the latest reports say that, they don't seem to be reacting to her laughs or not laughing with her. I mean, it seems like a lot of information that's irrelevant to what we're looking for in this trial. And if she comes across as glib, it's going to backfire for the prosecutor.
She said, I was reluctant to just continue talking about that one narrative, this case, Daniel says. So I guess, Ellie Honig, she's suggesting that the reason she no longer hosts the podcast, she was fired from it, is because she kind of wanted to move on from this one issue, and the podcaster probably, I'm guessing here, thought, well, that's really what you're known for, so we want you to talk about that. Trump, we're told, is leaning back in his chair, shifting a little in his seat.
So I think a couple things are happening here. I agree with Bill. I think they're trying to humanize her for the jury. I'm not actually worried from the prosecutor's point of view about what the jury's going to make of the adult film business and her involvement in it. This is a Manhattan jury. I've tried cases in front of Manhattan juries involving strip clubs and a shakedown of the pornography industry. So they're fine. They're all grown-ups.
Right now, she's talking about the draft Stormy campaign for Senate in Louisiana.
Stormy Daniels isn't coming off so great to the jury, probably because she's lying and she's a clear, self-interested sociopath who's doing all of this to stay in the spotlight, continuing this grift to bump up her clearly dying career. This case in New York continues to fall apart, and I guess once again, dummy low IQ Trump manages to outsmart everybody, the entire machine, once again. I guess he's just lucky. Remember when Bill Maher said that?
No, he actually just got this guy is the luckiest guy in the world.
He definitely made a deal with the devil at
something.
Because he always lucks out on everything.
Yeah.
How does he keep getting away with it? He must just be lucky and have a guardian angel. No, he's just not as dumb as you guys think he is. You keep underestimating your opponent. And of course, they're making Trump look a lot better and a lot smarter with all of these clearly flawed cases. If you charge somebody based on a completely false premise, if there's holes in your case, if your case is built like Swiss cheese, and it ends up backfiring, it's your fault, and not the defendant just getting lucky over and over again. Trump's coming out on top, and that becomes more clearer and clearer each and every single day. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.